Okay, so myself, I'm Mr. Manyuni. I'm a clinical psychologist. We are in the psychology department, and basically we offer psychotherapy to our clients and assessments as well. Okay, maybe new in a bit of some quotes.
Okay.
Because so far we now have at least about 8 years being operational. But focusing on drug issues, yes, we can now call it new, because we used to focus on mental conditions, psychotic conditions. But on drugs, there are people who do come while they've got an addiction problem, but while at the same time not having maybe psychosis. So there will be wanting rehabilitation. So we are now coming up with new programs to help such kind of people, whether they now have psychotic symptoms due to drugs, or even if they do not have psychotic symptoms but they need rehabilitation. First, yes, we've got different wards, but focusing on the admitting ward, both the male and the females. On the female side, it's lesser, the percentage. But on the male admission ward, yes, approximately it can be around 80 something to 90. The rate, we now actually have more patients who are substance users than what the ward is supposed to be treating, which are psychotic patients, people with different psychological or psychiatric disorders. Yeah. The challenge now it will be bed state. It's now the ward will now be overpopulated, while it's at the same time I would want to say it's not a good mix to mix people who are psychotic. We have got other psychiatric conditions with someone with substance use, because their level of understanding can be different. I'm saying so, for example, we might have even a psychologist who has got a drug problem but does not have psychotic symptoms. But if you are to put him or her in the same ward with people who are having probably conditions like schizophrenia, again, that understanding them to mingle, it will be a bit of a challenge. Okay. It is mandatory that when you are admitted here, at least the first 2 weeks you're supposed to be in the ward. But due to the program that we are doing as a department or as a hospital, for drugs to wash away from your body, the detox to be successful, you have to stay at least a minimum of a month without accessing the drug. But at times, challenges arise whereby even the relatives will be saying you're overcrowded, and they end up wanting their client back home. So sometimes it can be compromised for the patient to really receive the treatment full package. But the minimum should be at least a month and 2 weeks. These clients actually, they're coming from all backgrounds.
Okay.
Yes. Those of low economic status, and again, the background is the one again which normally determines the type of drug that the person is taking. Because people from high economic status, we are classifying them for even hard drugs like cocaine. They'll come and say, I take cocaine. But those from the probably high densities, they don't afford cocaine, so they'll be for the Jengus, the marijuanas, the Doritos.
Okay.
But even those high nut drugs are there. We find people from low density suburbs coming and say, even the medicinal drugs like the what's this? Apart from the diazepams, so it's people who can access that. What's this one? I'm forgetting the name for pain. They are abusing that as well. They started something for recreational purposes, for fun. Then before they know it, it's now an addiction. Why I'm saying so is is because if we're going to say economic status and whatever, then we're not going to have high volumes of people who are coming from who have money. So that one probably can be out.
Okay.
So it's such an issue. I think it starts with peer pressure, and before you know it, you're addicted to it. Then you're into it. The ward in which we admit them, because yes, the hospital has got different wards, but they've got different purposes, since we've got a lot of psychological disorders. But pertaining that ward, I think it houses around 350 to 400 patients.
Okay.
Yeah. So at times it can reach the maximum level of the 400, which again may give a challenge whereby you now have to discharge some people in order for you to accommodate others. Because almost like every day somebody will be coming to be admitted, which is a challenge. You might end up discharging a half-baked. At first, I would say community was not, but they're beginning bit by bit to understand. But what to do about it, so far I don't think they've got the solutions. But now, since people are now coming, they're saying people, especially the Jegus and people coming to Ingutsheni, they are now beginning to understand, to say, oh, this thing actually causes mental conditions and mental illness. But now, as in how to prevent it, so far the community, some they do, because some they will actually invite us to do awareness campaigns, even in churches, which means some they are now understanding, but others are still a bit skeptical. Age group, from my experience here, we once admitted even at somebody who was around 14 years. 14 years. Let's say secondary school going age, then to around okay, obviously the graph as will be going up, it will be reducing as well, but to around 40 something years.
Okay.
Although here and there, one or two cases you might find somebody of 50 something.